Hey guys, Wild Spirit Stables here. I am back and today I am going to be covering a few frequently asked questions as well as a request that I got for a video on just some tips for beginner showers. And one of the first frequently asked questions that I get is, what scale can you show? Because a lot of people are like, oh, can I just show the big ones or can I show the little ones? Can I show the little ones even if stuff like that? And the answer to that is really you can show any scale that you want. Like you can show the big traditionals down to these little bitty tiny micro minis. Like you can show whatever you want. But I do have a little tip for you. The minis, like stablemates and mini winnies, they do the best when they have their own division, when they have their own mini division. So if you're showing a traditional horse against a itty bitty little stablemate, the big one, like Chibosco, would probably get a ribbon over my itty bitty little saddlebred, just because there's more detail in the bigger ones. So they usually tend to do better when they're showing next to each other. But when they have their own separate divisions, minis actually do really, really well. They actually make up almost half of my show string. They do pretty well. I've had a few of them get reserve champions. I've had one had a champion before, so don't hesitate to bring your little minis, especially if they have their own division. Of course, don't hesitate to bring them if they don't have their own division as well. Like at the Nationals, they don't have their own division. They show against traditionals and they do just as well half the time. All right, so that's that for you. And so some other tips I have for you. First of all, if you're a first-time shower, don't go in showing 50 models. I would recommend like 25 or less for your first show, just because it can get a little bit hectic, especially if you're not really sure exactly what you're doing. It's easy to get confused. It's easy to get a little lost and miss classes if you have a whole lot of horses. And that's not fun at all. So I'd take just a few horses the first time. Then you can have more time to socialize with other showers, kind of ask them questions. You can ask like the judges and everything questions and all that the more time you have. And then you can kind of get a feel for what the show is without being stressed out. I mean, my first show, I only brought 15 horses. So don't be afraid if you're like, oh, I only have 10 horses. I'm not going to do very well. You'll do fine, don't worry. You can build up your show string later. It's just a good idea to have your first show be kind of small, kind of a little small one. And let's see, some other tips I have for you. Start preparing ahead of time. Don't go the night of. Like, don't like prepare like, oh, I need to pack up all my models right now. I did that and it was a mess. One of my horses ended up breaking its leg because I was kind of rushing to pack them, and I just kind of shoved them all on my bed. I put them in a little pile over there thinking they were wrapped up really, really well. And I have a lot of animals. One of them happened to jump up on my bed and knock one over, fell on the ground and broke his leg. So that was kind of sad. So that kind of taught me to be like, okay, I need to kind of prepare ahead of time and know what I'm packing in. And another good idea, don't pack your horses in their original boxes. That probably sounds pretty obvious, but trust me, I did it. I really did. I would recommend like the big like Sterilite buckets. Those actually work really, really well. Like the big like, however many gallons they are. I have one right next to me, but I don't know how big it is. So just do that. And don't be afraid to ask questions. Do not be afraid to go up to the judge and be like, oh, hey, why did you place me the way you did? Like, if you got like a 6th place or something, you can go up and be like, oh, hey, is there any way I can place better? And they can give you some tips. They can be like, oh, this horse had a little bit of a rub, or, oh, you could probably choose one with better shading, stuff like that. It actually really helps for your next show. So just don't be afraid to ask questions and talk to your fellow showers that are near you. Like, I had a table buddy my first show that I just talked to, and I'm like, oh, hey, can you give me some tips on some shows? And she actually gave me some really good tips, and she even talked about dusting your horses too. I didn't realize that you had to dust them when you put them on the table too. I thought it was just oh, you can dust them when you get there, and as long as they look clean, you're good. I didn't realize that they still got a lot of dust into their manes and tails while you're at the show. And again, I know that sounds obvious, but it's one of those things that you don't really think of when you're at the show. So don't be afraid to talk to people, ask questions, and just have fun. Like, don't be afraid to have fun. A show is usually an all-day thing. I mean, my show that I go to, judging starts at 8. I usually get there at 7, and I'm usually not home until about 7 or 7:30 at night. So it's an all-day thing. So if you don't socialize, if you don't have fun, you can turn the day into a really long day for everyone. If you're antisocial, no one's going to want to talk to you. It can make the day really long, really boring, and you won't have a good experience. So just remember just to try to have fun. Even if you don't win anything, just have fun. I mean, ribbons are just the icing on the cake. That's really all it is. I mean, you don't have to win. Don't be sad if you don't win. You might get some at your next show. I mean, your first show is all for the experience, for learning about what everything is. That's really my best piece of advice that I can give you. And then also another one, just common courtesy, live show etiquette, stuff like that. If there's a really nice custom that you like, ask the shower if you can take a picture of it, because some people will be like, oh no, please don't take a picture of it, and just be careful. Don't accidentally bump into tables. If you're normally a klutz like I am, you gotta be really, really careful. I mean, these collections that people have on their tables, they are priceless. You don't want to be the one that causes one to break, fall off the table, get a rub. I mean, you don't want that to happen. So just have some live show etiquette, be nice, don't bump into people's tables, and don't hover over the judge when she's judging. When the judge is judging the table, she doesn't want you to come up to her and be like, oh hey, I really like that horse, or oh hey, what are you going to place me? Don't do that. Don't do that. Oh, judges will hate you forever. That's kind of all that I can think of for some really good advice for first-time showers. If you have any other questions, just feel free to ask me, and I can try to make a video for you. Like if I get a bunch of similar questions, I'll definitely make a video. And so just ask me, see what you want me to do, and I'll see what I can do, and I'll make a video for you. So that's it for today. So Wild Spirit out.